Hello fellow DIY-ers and focus owners. Today we're going to make and remake heated seats. Oh, wait a second. These seats. Yeah, so that one and that one is from the pre-facelift, and these two are from the facelift. And we are going to use these auto improve heated pads, aka they're cheap Chinese electronics. I think this is a Romanian rebrand, and they are carbon heated pads, and that's pretty much it. I also have a schematic on how these heated pads are supposed to work, and I've also measured them and calculated how much current they will take and how to connect them properly, so you won't set your car on fire and then blame me. So they are all perfectly safe to install from an electrical point of view. As for taking the seats out of the car, well, I don't think that it's necessary to film myself taking out 4 bolts and disconnecting like 1 or 2 connectors. Oh, by the way, top tip, move kind of seat in its middle position and tilt it forward before you try to remove it. Oh, and remove the headrest. So I want to start with the seat on the left side first, because it already has heated pads, so I can use them as templates. And it's as simple as to disassemble as far as I know. So the first thing to remove is the headrest. You have these 2 tabs here that you need to push in, and then you can pull the headrest out. So now you want to remove the lower part. By the way, this was a number 10 socket. Now you can unclip some of the wires. And this part will come out. So now you will need to disconnect the connector, well, the one for the heated pad from this multi-connector, basically. So on this multi-connector, there's a tab to take it out, and to take out every small connector, I think, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, here on the back you have. And these are anti-retard anyway, so you cannot put the wrong connector in the wrong spot. Now you will need to disconnect the connector for the height adjustable seat, if you have one, and you would need to remove this plastic. I think it's easier to remove from the back, as it's supposed to be removed from the front. Anyway, try not to break it. You need to unhook it from the rear. So here you have this part. So now we're going to take these cables out of here, because this is the airbag and the heated pad for that one, and there are 1, 2, and there should be 3 and 4 bolts, or excuse me, nuts that hold the backrest to this part. But on this side they are covered with this plastic, so this should come out like this, hopefully not with the whole mechanism. And this plastic, if I remember correctly, you can pop it down. Maybe if you want to, you can remove the pre-tensioner and the seat belt buckle. This is going to be a T50 Torx. Now to remove these, you need a 15mm socket and some force.
A few moments later.
I'm back with some grease, elbow grease. And the other two. Okay, and now that you have removed all the bolts, or I mean nuts, and you unhooked all the cables, you can take it out. And this is the base of the seat, and here's the backrest. So now we are going to take out these clips. There are 5 here, 2 and 2. And I'm going to cut them, because we're not reusing them anyway. I will use zip ties, mostly because there is a machine that like clips these on, and I don't have a machine like that. And also in the manual of the heated pads, they recommend using zip ties, especially around the heating or heated pads, because they are out of plastic, and the exposed carbon elements might touch the plastic, and it's better to touch plastic because it's an insulator. So I advise to get a good pair of pliers, or well, cutting pliers. In my case I use Knipex. So now this is, well, done, and the next step would be to, how should I show this, to unhook it from here. Just pull it a little bit down, because they have these clamps, hooks in the metal, and I think the easiest way is or by hand or using a pair of needle nose pliers. But you get the idea. Okay, now I've unhooked everything. Turn the base right side up, and over here you can start taking this off, but gently, because kinda here there are 3 more of these clips, and I think 1, 2, 3 on the sides as well, so it stays like this and it doesn't go like over. Okay, this is why I've told you to just cut these off, because there's no way you can reuse these. You just go gently, do this. You get the idea. You can pull the textile over the metal part to make your job easier when you are fishing these hooks out. And here we go. The textile is off. So yeah, these are the points where you will feed in the zip ties and tie the textile back when we reassemble it. And this, I think it's some quality gooch juice from yours truly. Now, there's a lot of dust. Goddamn, I should have kept the uranium in the trunk. Just kidding. So, this is the heating pad and it's glued down. I'm kind of thinking maybe if I spray it with some brake cleaner, it would come loose. So yeah, this is actually, if I remember correctly, a working heated pad, but you can see the heating element is already like all over the place, and it's just an old technology. That's why I said I wanna change it. Here we have this thermal switch, and we're going to remove the metal part from the foam like this. And feed the wiring through this hole. We will need this, by the way. So this is the original heating bed that we will be using as a template, because we need to cut these 3 holes here, and well, that is not very important. But I'm thinking maybe I could take the cable through the back and down. We will see how it fits best. And if you are curious, oh, this was made in Germany. Here's the code. Well, what's left of it. So here I have prepared the new heating pad. I've marked out where I want to cut it off, and I need to cut these holes into it. But you can normally cut holes into these carbon heating elements, but if they have like a rail on this side and one on this side, do not cut those. Or if you like cut it here, or if you like cut the big ass hole here, this part basically won't work. Or if you cut it off, then the other part won't work, obviously. So get a sharp pair of scissors and cut the fabric. And we'll double check once again for the holes. Okay, so I double checked the instructions, and they say that you are supposed to cut at least 7 centimeters, basically this much from the sides, but I already have these here, so I am going to do a compromise and call 5 centimeters from the side. Hopefully there's not going to be any problem with that. And this is how it's going to sit. It has this double-sided tape on the bottom, and when you put it on, make sure it's not like wrinkled. And here I'm thinking to cut a little bit bigger holes so it doesn't heat where it's wrinkled. And it said in the instructions to place with the cable towards the back of the seat. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's try to stick it down with these adhesive double-sided tapes. Let's try one side. I wanna place it kind of in the space where the old one was, like that, and this one as well. And now here's the tricky part, as I need to feed it down here. Make sure you have enough space to stick a zip tie. Now the other side. Voila. As for the wire, I'm thinking to perforate this over here. I mean the foam. Okay, so I made the hole and I want to feed the cables through with the help of this screwdriver. Okay, kind of like this. I want to have the plastic protection through the whole foam. So the thing is, you will need all the wiring from the original heated pad to connect it into the seat multi-plug. And I'm thinking that I want to do a connection somewhere around here so it's not under stress, and I can pull maybe more of this over it and some heat shrink tubing. And I will use crimp connectors to connect the wires. So here we go. I crimped on this. Now comes the heat shrink tubing, and I need my heat gun. And now I want to stick one of these thicker pieces of insulation onto the whole thing. Maybe even match it into this one. Kind of like that. You can even wrap some tape around it, but I want to put it somewhere here to the side because the exit point is going to be here anyways. Also, I had to deepin this, and the thing is, the polarity doesn't really matter. And now we will need to put everything back together. How was this? Kind of like so. Here comes the metallic part. Make sure you use the hole that has this gasket or plastic around it. you can just feed the cable through. Just make sure it sits how you want it to sit. Oh, come on.
One eternity later.
And you can stick or clip the cable back into these. I think these were used, doesn't really matter. Now you will need to stick in some zip ties. Basically, you do all the other ones too. It's going to look like this. And onto this, you put the fabric back on. Also, you will need a few more zip ties down here, here, and where you remove the clips. And by the way, I've tested the heated seats, or at least this heated pad that is cut, and it works fine. Okay, next part. Okay, so now we have the backrest part, which theoretically has these clips here. Yeah, they are like that. And let's see. You're supposed to pull this up and pull this down. Here we go. And here you can mess around in there with the lumbar support, and we need to see the front. And here we have two of these. So here we have two of these that needs to be unclipped. Like that. The other one on this side. Like this. And then you can pull the fabric back a little bit, but it has these ears that slide on these, so make sure you don't rip those off. And here we go. This is basically what we need to do, and here's the heating element. Oh my god, it's dusty. Shouldn't have welded in the car, or well, welding and polishing and whatnot. So let's try with the brake cleaner. Okay, so here we have the code for it, and you see there's no thermal switch here, so this pad can basically overheat. Now it's not necessary, but in case you wanna take the rest of this off, there are some rings here. I'm going to wash these because they are full of this dust, so that's my reason behind it. But you can just stick in the heating pads and that's it. Check this out. Apparently the machine failed when they clipped this seat. So basically here on the top it seems like the airbag is fed through the seat, and it has one of these connectors as well. Ah, come on. And the back part is hooked in. I think it's hooked to this metal part. So yeah, you feed that airbag hook thingy through there, and this looks like on these other hook like contraptions here. So this should be pressed down, or at least I think so. So here's this clip. It's really hard to undo. It hooks into that metal part. So as I figured here, I guess you can pull it from around. And here you have the, let me undo it, the fabric from the seat. Let's put this aside and turn our attention to this part where the heating is going to go. Okay, so yes, let's stick this on, this heated pad. And what I want to do mainly is line it up, and the base of these holes, I want it to line up with the edge of the foam. And the wire is fed through. I will show you in the back how it came out. I think this needs to come a little bit to the side, and you can start removing the double-sided tape. Okay, so let's do the wiring. First things first, cut about an 8 centimeter piece of this. This is this tube, I don't know how the hell do you call it. It's what is around wiring in some parts of the car. So pull that on first. And I was thinking, I think this was in the old system. This is the common one between the two. So I'm going to connect this one to positive. So that means I will need it about this long. Fuck. De-insulate with a knife or tool. I'm too lazy to get the tool. Don't forget to slip on the heat shrink before you do that. And by the way, I'm using these Ferrules. Just cut off the insulated part. Like that. Slip on the heat shrink tubing, and here it has kind of like a funnel end, and I prefer to put the other wire into the funnel end. And get the press. Do a pull test, and that's it. This is how I started to do my wiring, and I'm gonna do the other one somewhere around here, so they are not one against the other. Like that, but you get the idea. Okay, now that you have this, then you want to pull this insulation over the two wires, and if you can, stick it inside this one. Okay, and the whole wiring is going to come here. This was, by the way, glued on. I'm not going to glue it back. So this wiring comes here, and I directly made the junction on the straight side where there's no pressure, and it's going to be hooked into these clips, and that's pretty much it. So now what is left, just put the zip ties through and prepare the chair for the fabric. I think this is rather annoying part to fit the zip ties, but yeah, you get the idea. And basically this is what we need, and now we can put the textile over it. And I don't even know, I think I'm going to show you some interesting things with the lumbar support, and that pretty much concludes this video. You just need to reassemble the seat and you're good to go. Oh yeah, before I finish the video, I want to show you, so this and this are the wires for the heated seats, I mean on the car part. This is the pre-facelift one, but you have the same exact thing in the facelift, but it's a similar connector. So what we have here is plus going to one to the, let's say, the lower part of the chair, and it's in series with the backrest. So we need to make it parallel. Basically, we need to cut this one here, connect this here, so we have plus, and this is going to be minus, and this here, so we have plus and minus for both of them. Basically make it parallel connection and not series. I'll come back in a moment and show you guys what I'm talking about. So here we are. Basically this is the big idea. Now I shall test it. And it's actually working. God damn. So luckily I did manage to advance pretty much. This is the traverse seat, and this one has lumbar support, where I want to show you guys, in case the lumbar support is messed up, how you can fix it. And also, in case you have this, I want to show you how you can remove it. So it has this clip mainly that holds it in place, what you need to pull out. But this part sits like very close to a seat, and you need to get your hand in there and kind of fiddle around while you can take this seat, this clip out. And actually this is raised, so it's raised, so the clip, you can pull it towards the front of the seat. It's a fun fact. Okay, let me show you the lumbar support thing. So the lumbar support basically pulls these two together, and then it makes this part go out. And the mechanism to it is very simple. It's mounted there with 2 screws. So it is very simple. As you rotate this one,
Meanwhile,
sorry, but the GoPro, I don't know, just went out and it corrupted the video. So let me continue showing off the lumbar support. Okay, so now I can show you how to unhook it. Basically, you do this and then pull it out. Pull this out, and here you have the mechanism that is very simple. If you rotate it, this comes out and pulls the bowden with itself. So no problems there. The problem was with this mechanism, and this side I had to cut off because it was like this, but it kept pulling the bowden housing too inside this thing, and then just pull the cable, pull the whole thing through. So my fix to it, and I think this only happens on the pre-facelift ones, so my fix to it is add like 1 or 2 washers, and I did wrap some wire around it, so I make the diameter smaller to make sure it cannot pull the housing through. And I don't know, that's pretty much it. And another theory I have, just let me hook it up first. Yep. So it had this also hooked up here on the top, and I'm kind of thinking that the stress caused by these two is too much for this plastic mechanism, but now it works perfectly. This is basically what the lumbar support does. Okay, that's pretty much it.